何あれ、ほんとやめてほしい。
We all know Weekly Shonen Jump as the biggest manga magazine ever, and due to this, a lot of people have tuned into Shonen Jump Plus. If you don't know what Jump Plus is, it's an online magazine published by Shueisha, the same company that puts out Weekly Shonen Jump. This was made to adapt more to the internet stage of manga, reading it online as it comes out, rather than buying the magazine physically. But what also stands out about Jump Plus is that there's no limit to time or scheduling. Authors can choose their schedules to whatever they want it to be. Their manga can be weekly, 1 chapter per week, or bi-weekly, 1 chapter every 2 weeks, or even monthly, meaning 1 long chapter for each month. And even with these schedules, Jump Plus can still allow authors to expand more on their story and have their own lives outside of making manga. Which is why almost a decade after releasing, Jump Plus has become more loved and popular as a magazine. And with this popularity, it's also released many anime adaptations to their manga, getting more hype and popularity. Those anime being Spy X Family, Hell's Paradise, Kaiju Number 8, Summertime Rendering, World's End Harem, and 2.5 Seduction. There's Ron Kamashita, a really fun detective story, and just so many more. And one manga from this magazine is going through a similar thing, but on a different level. And that manga is Dandadan. Dandadan came out in the magazine on April 6, 2021, written and drawn by Yoshinobu Tatsu. The series completely blowing up online since it came out, it gaining over 200 million views on the Jump Plus website, and selling over 3.2 million copies without an anime adaptation. Speaking of which, the popularity of the manga got it in anime set to air in October 4th of this year. And just by the pure hype of the anime and the promotion behind it and how big the manga has been getting, I just gotta make a video about these topics. But I've been kind of confused on where to go in this video. Originally it was going to be just me catching up to the manga and just talking about it, but then I saw the Dandadan trailer and the cast reveals that I also want to make a video about the anime's production and how it might blow up. So I decided to just do both. The first half of this video will be me talking about the manga after finally getting caught up and how I feel about it. And the second half will be the anime and its promotion, how I think the anime can take over the rest of this year. So let's get into the manga part now. I'm bad at these type of intros and transitions, I'm sorry. My experience with the Dandadan manga is interesting. I remember being in high school when the manga first came out and how it just blew up online. So I read it and I really liked it. So I read the series weekly for about 2 years and was really loving it until one day, mid through last year, something happened. Something that I can't even remember why. It just perplexed me to not read it anymore. And that reason is I forgot to read a chapter one week and just forgot to read the rest. So yeah, that's why I stopped reading the manga. I just forgot. But here I read where I left off, and I want to talk about it since I love this manga. First, getting into the plot, it's about 2 main characters, Momo and Okran, 2 characters with strong beliefs. Momo, who believes in spirits and the yokai, but thinks UFOs and aliens aren't real. And Okran, who believes that aliens and UFOs are real, but thinks spirits and yokais are ridiculous. So the 2 make a bet to see who's right, and unfortunately, they're both correct. Okran finds out about yokai in an insane way. One called the Turbo Granny, a spiritual old woman who runs extremely fast, who is based off a real Japanese folktale. So she possesses him, Okran going from a shy, bitchless nerd to a more confident and powerful version of himself. Okay, pretty standard stuff so far, and Momo went through something similar. She found out about aliens and they captured her, so she unlocked her psychic powers to save herself from getting the Piper Perry treatment from these weird aliens. Oh yeah, and the ghost that possessed Okran is also a horny spirit that asks Okran to let her give him some head, who later becomes a cranky talking toy cat. And then the main plot focuses on Okran losing his balls and needing to get them back because, I mean, who wouldn't? And there's also a kaiju fight! Okay, just by all of that, Dandadan is really weird. Like, just weird, but to me, that's one of the biggest charms of Dandadan. It knows how wacky and just insane it is, but it embraces that wackiness to where it's weirdly become normal. Like, it's expected from Dandadan to be the most random and craziest manga ever. But these moments never get old or repetitive, as each of them not only serve a purpose to the story, or whether it's a fight or the hunt for the balls, but underneath that wackiness, it can also give us some of the most emotional backstories and moments I've seen in any manga, and some genuine great character writing. For example, look at this man. Just look at this design. Yes, This is a mantis man with boxing gloves. Yes, it is goofy and weird. And you're thinking, oh wow, look how goofy he looks. But then later on, it's revealed he's on Earth to find blood that matches with his son, who is extremely sick. And it's treated really seriously here. He's so heartbroken by the whole situation. And then it's revealed that the blood he needs was milk. So the mantis man takes a whole cow to give milk for his son, which is his blood. And that's the context of this panel y'all have seen probably on Twitter. And yeah, it's pretty goofy, but the context and the reasoning behind it makes this moment feel more important and fulfilling. And there's so many other moments like this in the series. Ara and Gita connecting with the yokai they later gain the powers of makes their transformations and abilities have more weight and feel more earned. And then Famola, her whole past with her mom just shattered my heart in so many ways. And this is the same girl that came to Earth in a giant kaiju costume. And then there's another backstory from a character that I'm just not gonna get into right now. That's for later because oh my god, what the hell? Hell, even the yokais have their own backstories, showing how they became the way they are and why they hate the world of living so much. Because many of them were humans themselves, and the world just kind of screwed them over. But all these aspects are the main appeal of Dandadan for me. Even when it's in its most wackiest arc, it can still build up to some beautiful and emotional moments, and some amazing fights. And even build up more to Okura and Momo's love story, which is just adorable. It's one of the better shonen romances out there. And with all of that, it's got every genre for anyone can enjoy. Action, romance, sci-fi, horror, comedy, which definitely explains its success and hype. I went through all of that and didn't even mention the parts where I read to catch up. So let's do that now. Where I left off was during the ending stages of the Space Globalist arc, which was a great arc, probably the best arc in Dandadan. But because I picked up where I left off, which was the straight up ending, all I can really say is, wow, what a great ending with some great build-up. The arc after, the Obunsen arc, is a fun and emotional arc revolving around the class rep and her past, who's a really funny character, but it's a pretty short arc with only 8 chapters, so there's not much else to really say. It was good, but that's pretty much it. But the arc after, the board game arc, is one of my all-time favorites in Dandadan. For this arc, one of Okuran's balls was found, so Okura and Momo go out to find the person that has it, and that person is Unjin Zuma, the top delinquent at his school, who uses the ball in order to activate his mysterious supernatural powers. And with his design and status and badass umbrella powers, Zuma is 100% a really nice guy. Like seriously, he's just a down-to-earth guy that helps anyone, whether it's a member in his gang, or a couple of strangers, or a person at his school. Zuma will always help them no matter what. Which is exactly what happens when someone from his school and this old man were trapped in this board game, and the only way to get out is to either trap someone else or beat the game. Obviously, he chooses to beat it. Momo and Okura try to find him, but Momo got trapped in the game herself by accident, and now has to work with Zuma to beat it, and just by that, I love this part of the arc. Able to show us the literal game world as a whole different society with crazy creatures and bosses. And seeing Momo and Zuma simply just trying to find a way to beat the game's different levels and how it's treated like a normal video game is a lot of fun. I couldn't stop reading this section of the story because I just loved it. It was just so much fun. I stayed up so late just reading Dandadan and it was worth it. This arc was already going really strong until we see Zuma's past trauma. Oh boy. This is gonna be a lot. This is gonna be a lot. So in the final stages of the game, Zuma becomes possessed by a creature which makes him go insane, completely upgrading his spirit form into this out of control monster and goes on a rampage, which leads to him and Okuran having a fight, a really awesome fight too, definitely one of my favorites in all of Dandadan. And after Okuran wins, like the GOAT he is, Zuma started to see visions of him as a kid, and now we see what happened in his backstory. When Zuma was a kid, his dad passed away, leaving him, his mom, and his brother broke and couldn't afford to even stay in a simple apartment. The mom constantly stressed out, and Zuma always made sure his brother was okay and never heard any of that. The only thing that makes him happy is his brother, who's happy with his little umbrella that his mom got him. Whenever he has that umbrella, it makes him feel at peace and happy. And the same goes for Zuma, just seeing his brother have a smile on his face. But this was cut short one day. After a stormy night, Zuma's brother passed away, trying to get his umbrella back from the wind. Something him and his mom couldn't and didn't want to believe, leaving them more depressed than ever. And the next day, Zuma and his mom went through something even more tragic. And I'm not going to spoil here what happens because I think you all should go into this one blind. But let me tell you, this whole backstory, that whole section is one of the most soul-crushing things I have read in a minute. What makes his backstory stand out from the others is that it's real. Usually with other Dandadan backstories, although they are sad and I feel for them, they have this supernatural or alien-like forms affecting them, making their lives feel a bit, a little bit more fictional. Zuma's life isn't like that. It wasn't affected by any aliens invading or spirits possessing him. What affected Zuma's life was regular people. His dad's bosses ignoring their responsibilities and even blaming his dad for his own death. Their landlord kicking them out, people in their ordinary lives just giving them crap. It's all from the real world of Dandadan, showing how dark and bleak it can really get without the supernatural fictional things about it. But during this whole backstory, it gave a message, and I love it. Like, obviously the world sucks, but at the same time in this world, you can give compassion and kindness to others no matter how shitty the world might be. Which is what he learned from his guardian, a police officer who arrested him and knows exactly what he's going through. All these moments and lessons explain why Zuma is who he is now, little by little not being beamed by this shitty world and not having anyone else be beamed by it either. And I think that's a really beautiful message. Just by the story, the fun games, and the ending with Okra and Momo, you know what I'm talking about, makes the board game arc one of my favorite arcs in all of Dandadan, showing the heart of Dandadan in its wackiest and most beautiful moments. And these moments is how I can see an anime blowing up the series even more. So let's get to the anime part of the video. The Dandadan Anime was first announced on December 15, 2023. When its first trailer was dropped, it completely blowing up online too. The anime will be produced by Science Star, one of my favorite studios, and I think they are perfect for the wacky and out-of-pocket nature of Dandadan, as they've done projects like Devilman Crybaby, Star Wars Vision, and even announced to be doing a Ghost in the Shell reboot in 2026. Like, I don't think you guys know how stacked the studio is, but how stacked the staff is for Dandadan. The director, Fukuyama Shiro, was in charge of the production for Devilman Crybaby. The sound director, Erika Kuruma, also did the sounds for Devilman Crybaby, but also did sounds for Studio Ghibli films, and even the Gundam series at one point. And also worked on the Ping Pong anime, and even Call of the Night, which are unrated gems, go watch them by the way. The scriptwriter wrote the script for Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu Kaisen, Dorohedoro, and even Attack on Titan. And to add more, the theme song is being performed by Creepy Nuts, the same duo who are blowing up for the MASH opening, which is like crazy, but perfect. The voice cast is completely stacked too. The VA for Okran is the same guy who played Kaneki in Tokyo Ghoul and Tanjiro in Demon Slayer. And the VA playing Momo is new, but shows a lot of talent already just by the trailers. And Ara is being played by the same VA that played Uraraka in My Hero Academia. Who's the best My Hero girl, by the way? Don't try me. But it's funny knowing how different these two are, having the same voice. But we're not done with voice acting, as during July, it was revealed that Dandadan will be getting a simuldub. Which, if you don't know, a simuldub is where an English dub airs at the same time as the Japanese version. With this, more people can watch Dandadan without having to wait for the dub and just going for it. Like, it's already having a full cast of dub actors and everything. They're going in on this one. With this just stacked cast work on the anime, it's clear that Jump and Shueisha really are pushing Dandadan to become the next big hit, like in My Hero Academia, JK, or Chainsaw Man. And I honestly do think it's possible. Again, the cast is stacked, the manga is already pretty mainstream online, the sales are really well, and the trailers are blowing up online, which makes sense. The production of the anime looks amazing. With all of this, I do believe that when Dandadan's anime comes out, it might take over the rest of 2024 and become a contender for Anime of the Year, which it deserves. So those were my current thoughts on the Dandadan manga and where it's going. I think it's going great, and how I think the anime can really blow up more into the mainstream. It's just great to be a Dandadan fan right now, because I swear, I'm about to be the most annoying dude here when this anime airs. It might become my favorite new anime of the year, I'm not even joking. I'm sorry, Windbreaker, but it's just too good. But that's all I can really say here. Like and sub for more content, and so I can get more bread. And to end this off, Psycho, she's kinda bad! Need that kind of granny.